Welcome back, guys. I have Charlie here from the Proper Booth in the UK. Welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here. Virtual summit. I'd never be here otherwise.
Yeah, I'm so happy we get to experience this. I know it's the first one that we've ever done, but it's been really great so far, and I'm pumped to see your presentation. So without further ado, I will just let you take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. As Catalina said, I'm Charlie. I am the owner of the Proper Booth company, and we are based in the UK. Thank you so much, Catalina, Brandon, everyone at PBS Go for having me to give a talk today. It's awesome having us as a virtual summit. For those of you who haven't been able to make it to the States before, we can all finally take part, so it's ace. It's actually 10 p.m. here in the UK right now. So I may have had a sip of wine, so sorry about that, but we could probably blame COVID for that. I mean, everyone's done a little bit of lockdown drinking, I think. Well, maybe it's just me. But what we can blame COVID for, though, is the dramatic upswing we have seen in microweddings, which is what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. So let's go right to basics. What is a microwedding? So they are different from elopements. So elopements are often just the couple with two witnesses, and it's often done secret. So microweddings usually have no more than 20 to 50 guests, and they often see guest numbers actually in the low teens. They are characterized by their very quick ceremonies and relaxed receptions, and they don't usually include all the traditional components of a normal wedding, like cake cutting or a first dance. And they are often cheaper. Essentially, they are exactly what they say they are, a traditionally styled wedding, just on a much smaller scale. And I know, I said the C word, cheaper. And I guess this is what everyone really wants to know. Are micro weddings worth it for photo booth owners? And the answer in short term is absolutely 100%. So smaller weddings will become more prevalent, so it's important that we all understand how we can get them to work for us and our photo booth businesses. Micro weddings have actually always been there, but they may not have been on many photo booth owners' radars. And generally, photo booths are used when people are plentiful and gathering in large groups. And for the majority of us, our marketing efforts tend to reflect this, focusing attention on those big budget weddings with upwards of 100 plus guests. But the global pandemic right now around the world means that weddings have been cancelled and postponed, and we have all been affected by this. But restrictions are slowly lifting, and we are beginning to see some weddings return, although there are some countries and some state restrictions still in place and are impacting how many people can actually attend them. But regulations are changing all the time, and sometimes on a day-to-day basis. Take the UK, for example. We were all set to see the return of wedding ceremonies for up to 30 guests on the 4th of August this year. This was postponed until further notice just 24 hours beforehand. Some of us will also have to contend with local lockdowns, which are becoming quite commonplace here in the UK, and I know Australia have been suffering with that too. This means that the rules will constantly change and will probably be like this for some time. So it's clear as photo booth owners, we must become flexible on what we can offer to our clients. And one of the ways that we can do this is bring into focus micro weddings. Now, they've certainly been bolstered by the pandemic, and there has definitely been an upswing in them because of it, but the trend was already bubbling away there in the background. The average size of a wedding has actually slowly been decreasing. So the Knot recently reported in their 2019 National Wedding Survey, which was released in February this year, that the average wedding size peaked at a high of 153 guests way back in 2007, whereas in 2018, it was down to 130 guests. Now, this doesn't seem very much, but there's a really clear downward trend that's going on here. The Knot also reported that for 72% of couples, the most important factor when planning a wedding was making sure their guests were well taken care of and had a really good time. And that's when we come in, with 47% of couples booking guest entertainment, including photo booths. Now, this is a big, big percentage. The importance placed on guest experience is a huge factor influencing couples to look at organising a micro wedding, which is why major wedding publications and websites started picking up on this trend. So back at the start of 2019, and my God, doesn't that feel like a distant memory ago now, Wedding Wire listed micro weddings and elopements as a key trend to watch in 2020 and started blogging about them a lot. In December 2019, one of the biggest wedding websites in the UK, Hitch, was also writing about the trend. Even in Australia, they were highlighting micro weddings back in 2019 on popular wedding site Wedshed, listing it as their top trend to watch. And in early March this year, prior to the global lockdown, Brides magazine included micro weddings as a big trend for 2020, with a number of wedding planners flagging it as a big trend. And there are so many more. So why this trend for micro weddings? Well, disregarding coronavirus as a factor here for a minute, there are plenty of reasons why a micro wedding would be attractive to couples. So I've already mentioned that guest experience was at the top of many couples' agendas. Especially a smaller guest list means more budget to be able to opt for absolutely awesome entertainment, like our photo booths, or maybe fireworks or amazing food displays. In fact, it's a Pinterest planner's dream. They also create a smaller environmental footprint, so less guests, less travel, and less waste impact. Eco weddings have also become increasingly popular, and making them micro seems to be a really easy way for couples to achieve this. Reducing numbers also gives couples a greater choice in their venue options. Another great reason for couples to opt in for a micro wedding. Not everyone dreams of having a huge wedding in a Scottish castle. Venues such as vineyards, river cabins, boutique hotels, even back gardens, they often have restrictions on numbers. So cutting the guest list completely solves this problem. These weddings are also more relaxed and they can spend more time with their guests. And more importantly, the guests they actually want to relax and celebrate with. Cutting your annoying second cousin off the list would probably be quite appealing to a lot of couples. And they can make it extremely personalized. Their budgets will be able to stretch to add some really special elements. And personalization at weddings has never been more popular, with signature touches appearing everywhere. Everyone wants a unique wedding. As photo booth owners, it means that upsells definitely come into play as they have more budget and it goes further. But we're going to touch on that a little bit later. So at this point, it's really important to reiterate that micro does not mean low value. The size of a wedding is not an indication on how much couples will spend. Often with a micro wedding, there are budgets aligned with the national average, which in the US is $33,900. In fact, the beauty of micro weddings for most couples is that the cost per head can go up, but the overall cost of the day will actually go down. So with fewer guests and a larger price point, they are able to spend on features such as photo booths and live entertainment. They are also more likely to organize a wedding that spans across a couple of days. They don't want to compromise on quality. Personally, micro weddings are my ideal events. The couples who usually organize them aren't out for a bargain. They are after fantastic guest experience. Their guests will be made up of their families and their closest friends. It's the classic quality over quantity scenario, and definitely time for us all to take them seriously. So now that we know that micro weddings don't mean a budget wedding, how do we price for them? So it goes without saying, the packages or price options you put together for micro weddings should differ from your regular offerings. And the reason why the pricing should differ boils down to two things: flexibility, especially at the moment, and also marketing. Whatever event you book, one thing that will always stay consistent is your fixed costs. If you haven't got a handle on what these are and you're wanting to pick up micro weddings, in fact, any event, I cannot stress enough how important it is to get a handle on them. So in essence, whether you're booking for a micro wedding or a massive 1,000-person corporate event, your fixed costs remain exactly the same. Now, fixed costs will differ from company to company, but here are just a few examples of some familiar ones. So office rent, insurance, website hosting, software subscriptions, car lease payments, phone bills, marketing expenses, and equipment depreciation. The best way to be flexible is to know your fixed costs inside out. And once you know the fixed costs, it's time to consider your variable costs. And these are the real profit makers and are also the costs that will differentiate your micro wedding packages from your regular offerings. So variable costs for photo booth owners will include things such as labor costs, travel, print media, props, backdrops. It's a really good idea to think about what would you charge per hour? What would you charge per print? What about that custom backdrop, boomerangs, gifts, personalized options, travel charges? So what type of offerings are most suited to micro weddings? In a very short answer, any at all, which I know doesn't sound very helpful, but bear with me. We must remember that although the wedding will have a much smaller guest attendance, it is still a wedding. And what the wedding couple want, they will actually ask for, which is why knowing your pricing inside out is absolutely key. Couples organizing their micro weddings are most likely to request personalized packages, and we should be ready to offer that to them. From personal experience, couples booking a booth for their micro wedding are usually drawn to two types of packages. For a shorter hire period with an attendant, or for a longer rental hire option, either a full day or a weekend hire. And as digital drop-offs was such a hot topic during yesterday's panel, I thought I'd briefly look at this in a little more detail, specifically for micro weddings. So we've definitely entered the age of the iPad-based booth. And I'm sure many of you have these types, and we have a salsa booth and we absolutely love it. And the beauty of these booths is the ability to set them up and leave them running completely attendant free. A perfect option for micro weddings and the couple who are looking for that full day or weekend hire option. And when considering all that's going on in the world, the fact that no attendant is required to stay and monitor the booth is highly desirable. Depending on where you are, there currently could be tight restrictions in place on the number of guests allowed at a wedding. Here in the UK, just 30 guests are currently allowed at a wedding reception, and this number must include any external vendors that are not involved with the venue it is being held in. An attendant-free booth paired with the awesome contact-free features that booth software such as Salsa and Queso are capable of running, and you have the perfect COVID-friendly photo booth, ideal for micro weddings in this climate. We currently only offer a digital booth for a full day or weekend hire for micro weddings. And at the moment, this is mainly due to COVID restrictions. So I don't particularly want to hang around at any event, and I don't really want my staff to either. And because of the pandemic, they are all contact free. But looking forward to when we will be able to operate in a normal way, which we are all hoping will be very soon. I do believe that actually weddings will still be looking to limit not only their guest numbers, but also reduce the number of suppliers physically at an actual event, because less people equals less germs, which is why looking at running drop-off booths, not just for micro weddings, but events moving forward is really important. So what variable costs do we encounter when we're using a salsa or a digital booth for a micro wedding? So travel. If you are doing a digital drop-off, please remember you are potentially doing 2 full round trips. So there and back, there and back. Price this accordingly, or even better, if you are working within a particular travel radius, work out a travel rate and incorporate it into your overall package price rather than as an extra cost. Couples love not being hit by a surprise travel cost. Labor costs. Your time is valuable. Please don't forget to cost this in. And if you're not doing it now, please start doing it. Labor isn't just about running the actual event. There will still be work done before the event, and your time or attendance time traveling, setting up and breaking down, and also post-event too, sending follow-up emails, gallery links, all that kind of stuff. Your time is money. And we go into props. Some of you may decide that props are still a goer, and if you're not worried about having a touch-free booth, actual digital props might be your preference for now. If you're paying for software on an event by event basis or have downgraded subscriptions due to a lack of events during lockdown, and that's probably happened to so many of us, remember that your software costs may well go up to accommodate for extras such as digital props or other features such as beauty filters or video effects and that kind of thing. Personalization. So this is where we make our money. Personalization over multiple elements of our setup are included as upsells to many of our packages, and Microweddings are no exception. In fact, Microweddings is where we often upsell the most. So as we know, guest experience is high up on a Microwedding agenda. They want to make everything feel extra personalized, and Photobooths are brilliant for this. So what can be personalized, or in other words, what can be upsold? Lots and lots of things, and it's totally up to you what you include and what you don't. Could be start screens, digital and physical props, filters. Beauty filters are a huge upsell. Booth vinyls, backdrop extras such as balloon garlands, foliage garlands, neon signs. And by no means am I suggesting you are able to do all these things yourself. The trick is to get a team of amazing local suppliers together who can help you create these projects. Couples love it when you can offer them numerous options in one fell swoop, which they might have had to contact maybe 3 or 4 other vendors for. And our most popular upsell currently from Microweddings is prints. So yeah, that's right, couples organizing a microwedding, especially at the moment, who wanted to have an attendant-free, touch-free photo booth, totally understand that physical prints on site just isn't feasible in some cases. That doesn't mean they can't have them. But we offer them 1 or 2 full sets of prints post-event, which we package up beautifully and send on to the client. We charge upwards of £100 or $130 for this additional service, depending on the number of prints required, which is actually usually a lot. Upsells are brilliant when it comes to microweddings. So to recap, you could book a weekend booth hire completely attendant free for a microwedding. Sounds pretty good, right? We charge upwards of £600 or $780 for a full day digital booth hire, and £1,000 or $1,300 for a full weekend hire. And with very limited overheads, we make on average a 70% profit margin, and we don't even have to be at the event. So it's clear that microweddings will be here to stay for a while. And once you've got your pricing sorted, it's time to get focused on your marketing. It is really important to create a distinction in your marketing between your regular offerings and microweddings. Why? Because you are targeting a fairly niche but growing demographic that you probably won't be effectively hitting at the moment. And now is the time to start sowing those seeds for microweddings, either at the end of this year, yes, they're all happening right now, or at the start of next year and onwards. So here's some easy steps to get you guys going. If you are on Instagram, think about the hashtags you should be using to help pull in that engagement. I like to mix it up, use some quite big ones, so things like hashtag microwedding, and then slightly smaller ones, maybe location related. And don't forget to post relevant images. There's no point posting up a picture of a mass wedding when you're trying to promote microweddings. And a little tip for you, don't ever choose the picture first. Always write the caption and then choose the picture. Then we have got Pinterest. So put together a micro wedding board on Pinterest. So looking at some of the statistics on Pinterest, so people who are searching for elopement photography has gone up 128%. People who are searching for small outdoor weddings has gone up 94%. And people who are searching for small beach weddings has gone up 511%. So don't forget, there are a lot of couples out there who are still planning despite having a postponement. They now have a whole extra year to either completely change the style of wedding they are having or add in additional suppliers. I could talk about Pinterest for hours, but that is a whole different talk. If you have a blog on your website, please, please, please write about microweddings and how your booth fits perfectly for it. Also, research venues and small wedding venues and micro wedding planners in your area. You will be surprised how many specialists there are. There are loads of Facebook groups, and venues and photographers are always on the hunt for other like-minded suppliers. And so micro weddings are also becoming a popular option for many styled shoots that are able to take place at the moment. We absolutely love getting involved with these style shoots. They are such a great way of meeting like-minded vendors, particularly planners, stylists, and venues. It also gives them the opportunity to see what you do in a true to life environment. Plus, you get some amazing professional photos for you to use across your marketing, social channels, and website free of charge. And don't forget to email any leads you have on your books. Their plans may have changed, and they could be one of the many who are switching from a big wedding to a micro wedding. Show them how you can still cater for them. We had a bride call us up who said they were having to cancel the photo booth because they were downgrading from a big wedding to a micro garden wedding, and they didn't think the booth would work for them. We offered her a touch-free digital photo booth option with a battery pack, and she kept the booking and actually paid a little bit more to have it for the entire weekend. Her wedding is tomorrow. So to sum up, micro weddings have been gathering pace as a trend even before the world was in lockdown, and they will be here to stay for some time yet. The pandemic has all made us rethink our priorities, and I'm sure family and health are at the top of everyone's lists. And this will be the same for your couples. Micro weddings ensure they celebrate their wedding with their loved ones and those who matter the most to them. Don't be scared of pricing booths for micro weddings as you would for any normal event. One of their first questions will mostly be, can I have your pricing? But that's because they don't know what they want, and they actually don't know what to ask either. It's up to you to take the time to really understand what they're after and offer the perfect option. This will present value to your client and will show that you understand that guest experience is their top priority. Micro weddings does not mean low value. It means great quality with plenty of personalization. Thanks so much, guys. And I really hope that you found this talk helpful.